The slipper system is a pain. Just in general, this nut tends to loosen up, so you'll probably have to replace it, especially once you start adding power. If you tighten this up too much and so your mesh is not set properly, you will destroy the teeth on your gear. So make sure you set it right, or you put a little piece of binder paper in there, or else you will destroy the gears. Let's see, what's the other note? If you start going up in power, I don't recommend it on this vehicle. You're just going to be wheeling and flipping the car over. It's going to become very uncontrollable. That's the reason why. But if you do, I would replace the clutch pads, slipper clutch pads, and I'm going to show you why. So in order to remove this, just hold the gear with 2 fingers, and it's just 3 screws. This is how you replace the spur gear. So if you do want to run the optional spur, I believe is an 86 spur. This is a 90. I'm going to say most because I can't remember. Most larger Traxxas vehicles come with a 90 that have this transmission, the 272 transmission, so Slash and Rustler. The Bandit comes with a 76, I believe. Now, the Slash VXL comes with an 86, I believe, with an optional 83. And you can fit the 76. I would not do the 76 unless you have a motor that can handle the power on a Slash, because it's just too heavy. If you're using the Velinium system, you're just gonna fry it. But this is it. So this is how this replaces, and if you're going with the same tooth count, you don't have to bother with the motor. You would just put this back in and do it. Now here I'm going to explain how this works. So you're just going to use, I believe it's a 7. It is a 7mm. And you're just going to back this out in order to replace the slipper. And when you buy a new kit, they usually come with a new nut, a new spring. Go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and remove this bearing. And you will get a new little disc, one of these as well. These will burn up. Now, one quick little thing to note, if you look at these little tabs right in here, there's those little tabs, those little 4 tabs, those go in those small little gaps. Now, if you do have to replace the lay shaft, which you should, get the lay shaft for the 272R transmission. It's about $8–10, but it doesn't have the little lay pin, so it's a lot stronger. If you add power to these, or if you just hit a bump, get a lot of traction all of a sudden, sometimes that breaks inside, and I've seen it happen. But you would just remove this. There's a little pin, that thing will pop out. Now, I'm not going to take apart the transmission here because I have other videos where I take apart the 272 transmission. You can watch those, but all you have to do is once you remove the transmission, you take all these screws out on this side, and then the 2 halves just come apart. Just be careful not to drop some of the things inside. But do watch those other videos if you're interested in a further teardown of the transmission. So that will set just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and place this over here. I'll put the tire just so that it doesn't fall. Now, for these little clutch pads, these will actually break and crack, and they don't last very long with a lot of power. They're fine for brushed motors, not so good for brushless or something with a lot more power. And when I mean brushed motor, I'm talking about the stock one, this 12-turn Titan, which I do like. I do like the motor. My recommendation for pads is Hot Racing. Hot Racing makes some carbon fiber pads, very, very good pads, the long ones. They also make the long aluminum pads. The long aluminum pads are very aggressive, so they will destroy that after a while, that little disc. But those are the best pads. They grip take off. These will burn up, it'll smell like burnt clutch, they will break with power. So just replace them. But they just fit in, fit out. There's those two little tabs. Place this right in there. And my recommendation, take the bearing. The bearing's going to fit on the gear, and just put it on the gear. Don't worry about centering this right now. Just worry about putting the bearing here, and then the screws, use these 3 holes to center the slipper. Now I have to get up, so I have to get up real quick just so I can see, that way I don't stick my head under the camera. But just line up the holes, drop it in place, and then just use the screws, and the screws will line everything up. That is all you have to do. So that one's lined up. Once you put the second one in, everything will be perfect. So the third one will just slide in. And again, because it's the same spur, or same spur size, well, this one's the same spur. You're probably going to be replacing with another maybe, but I did not move the motor, therefore I don't have to worry about the mesh. So at this point, I can just go ahead and get these screws close, and I'm just getting them a little close. I'm not even snugging them yet, just close, just to make sure this seats properly. And you can actually go ahead and tighten them now, or you can tighten them after you put the spring back in. Now this spring is in very good shape, I don't have to worry about it, but if you've run this for a long time, just replace it. Go ahead and replace the spring. This does wear out, and then it doesn't put the correct amount of tension. How much tension? That's going to be up to you, it depends on the application. Here we go, 7mm. Now this is different than a differential. A differential, you don't want to, well, a ball differential, you don't want to drive it all the way in, but on this you can drive it all the way in. Now I'm just going to go back 1 1/4. Let's see, so that's 1 and then 1/4. For high power applications, that's too much. If you're running carpet, that's too much. You almost want to lock it down. Which is the problem, once you start locking this down, that's when the lay shaft now starts to fail. But this is it. So again, transmission, I do have other videos, go ahead and watch them. I would greatly appreciate it if you do. And we'll go ahead and set this in here and go ahead and put the cover on. Now, if you're adjusting the slipper, one of the things that you want to do is just put the car on the ground and then remove this little plug there. And when you put the tires on the ground or hold the tires, that'll create the resistance that you need so that the shaft doesn't spin and turn. But this is it. So this is now on. I will not put the wheels on yet because I am going to be showing you how to remove the rest of the rear on the next video. For now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you like it. Please hit the like or even dislike if you don't like it. Just hit something. Well, not your computer, you'll break it. You know what I mean. Please comment below, like, subscribe if you have not already, and I'll catch you in the next one. I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to remove this and then how to take the arms and shocks out.
What? Oh, my hair! My tongue! My rod!